We are back with our second match of the day, and it is going to be DawN versus che0nsu to see who's going to be facing Tom in the finals of the playoffs here, the Grandmasters. And who are you fancying here out of these two players?
No disrespect to DawN at all, but I've just got to pick che0nsu. He has been on a roll so far in Season 2 of Grandmasters. I think you could, even if just comparing him to his fellow South Korean players, I think you could put him above Surrender. He ended up above Surrender in the standings. So it does... it checks out there. He's been playing some very, very strong Hearthstone. I've liked a lot of his deck submissions as well. He had a pretty easy run through in the group matches, or the GSL groups that we had the other day, where he was able to just sail through. He came in first place in the Division A, which meant he only had to win one game in order to qualify through to the semi-finals today. And I think DawN, you can feel his nervous energy, which works for him, and also, honestly, I think it works against him.
Right.
It means he is desperate to win. He's trying very, very hard to get to that point. But it means that when you are nervous, when you want something this much, it can, of course, lead to making some of these silly mistakes that we have occasionally seen DawN be subject to.
Yeah, and we see a clash of styles as well here in this matchup. che0nsu all season, finished top finisher in Asia Pacific, but he's just bringing, maybe not due to criticism from us last season, but just maybe criticism in general, the decks he brought last season were not that great on average. The decks and lineups he brought this season were pretty sick. You know, just consistently solid, strong, good decks, good lineup, and good card choices within those decks. Whereas he's going to be up against DawN, who hasn't brought, the four of, or at least the four for this week with, say, Holy Wrath Paladin, the Shaman, the Priest, and so on.
Yeah.
Whereas DawN has brought, he's got Shaman and Priest, but he's brought Hunter and Warrior.
Oh, yeah.
And, we're going to have to see how this one shakes out here, because we are going to go into the first matchup, and it's one that's, I think, forever hotly debated, is how good is Hunter versus Priest. I'm on the side where I think it's less good and just more it's not a bad matchup.
Right.
Whereas, for example, I'd say Druid is a bad matchup.
Yes.
I would say Hunter's an okay matchup. And there's a huge difference there. Whereas I think DawN, especially if he starts like this, he's not looking half bad.
He's looking fantastic going in with like this. But che0nsu, no slouch either. And I think the main reason that I agree that Hunter honestly is actually fine, if not good, against Priest, is not because that's the way the matchup actually is. It's the way it's played. People consistently mess up versus Hunter. We're talking secrets, we're talking about not being able to know what they're going to play on the next turn because of the fact that they only have one of each card in their deck. It can just be very, very awkward to play around.
Yeah.
Was he expecting backstab?
So yesterday when we saw backstab, I think DawN might be a little bit annoyed.
Zephyrus is so weird, man.
Yeah,
why does it not offer backstab there? It's insane.
Quick DawN,
I know it's
1,000,000% expecting backstab there.
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
Honestly, I don't know why it wasn't offered. I guess, again, it's not counting Cleric as a big enough threat.
Yeah. I think what it may be reading is that Zephyrus trades well against the Cleric, and so therefore it doesn't need to give
Does
it.
it read that deep? How your minions line up against your opponent's minions?
Well, it must be doing something, because half the time it feels like it offers backstab, and half the time it just doesn't.
Well, when we've seen it offer backstab, it's because backstab would kill the minions.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas now, backstab wouldn't kill the minions, so it would be backstab plus X. But also, I think, if that was, okay, let's just give it, if that was a 3-1, obviously it would offer backstab. But I even think if it was like a 4-3, it might even offer backstab because it's a threat. Whereas a 1-3 is not a threat on the board on its own. It's annoying, because you'd 100% want backstab in that situation.
Dumb.
It's just dumb. It's dumb. Now though, this animal comp is pretty good.
Yeah, we
almost no matter the outcome here.
3 grey outcomes here. That's
it's still fine.
That's the bad one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's never going to be bad. Sometimes it's great.
Yeah.
We should take those versus Priest. Without a Pyromancer.
Yeah, it's not that bad actually.
It's alright.
Heal, Coin Divine Spirit, Circle Divine Spirit. Yeah, Circle draws you 2 cards. Fine.
I was wondering whether he was going to think about coining out the sneak up on.
trade and then circle here. Yeah, I like this a lot.
Oh. che0nsu's like, you know what I want, friend? You can have your beasts. I'm having cards.
And I think it's honestly going to work out very, very well for him with all these cards he has in hand, and the fact that Priest is such a cheap deck in terms of the mana cost of all its cards. Well, and actually in terms of its dust cost, but mainly the first one. It can just start dumping out cards onto the board so quickly. The tempo it can gain here when it doesn't have to worry about hand size is absurd.
Honestly, like, I'll try and foresee the future with Amit, Coin, Sidekick, and then no matter what happens, the next turn can be like Psycho Pump, GG. That's how I see the base level of the game playing out. And Psycho Pump has some great targets right now.
DawN making what is, I think, pretty much the only turn you would ever even consider here.
Clear that board.
I see a dark future.
Wow.
Can I actually just see the future? We'll find out.
What do you see?
Next time on Can Raven See the Future? Working title.
My favorite show.
Didn't see that one coming, did I? Well,
what does a mech in hand do next turn?
the
answer is no.
Yeah. Probably pushing to the 1-7. I guess you hear Amit actually works out being the same.
Sheesh.
But Amit has an impact on the rest of the minions, and now lock and load, Derek. Lock and load. There's an Nephroset Ritualist ready to go. He's been on the bench.
Life
Now it's
is
just
an
on the shine.
afterthought.
And it just means now that it is impossible to clear anything for DawN. Actually, that's not true. He has Unleashed the Beast into Dynatamer Brand. He's got the curve. But I'm hesitant to say.
So he has to unleash the beast into the Amit. Right? He's seen a Nephroset, 2 circles. If he doesn't, then the King Crush from Dynatamer Brand does not kill the Amit because you expect at least a hero power next turn.
Yeah, you could just make the play of saying maybe they're an idiot and they won't buff the Amit's health in any way.
Would you ever?
I don't think against che0nsu. Yeah, I don't think you have that liberty. On ladder, maybe you're just jamming that.
On ladder, I'd baited arrows the 2-1 just to get it cooking.
Yeah.
Good move from DawN, though. This is just, like I said, not mind-blowing play, but just good play, just solid stuff, because this gives him the highest chance to be able to fight back, because it's still pretty close.
I think so too. I think he's realized his only chance of winning this back, like you said, kill off that Amit, step 1, and then lock down the board. Because even with all these cards in hand, if Priest falls behind on board, it's still going to lose the game. It does not have those comeback tools.
What if he just Psycho Pumps this turn?
Sets everything to 4. What's died this game? Clerics? Light Warden, Blade Master? Yeah, that all sounds fine.
Just do it, right?
Just get stats.
This is solid though, right? Because now,
absolutely.
we can see how it plays out, right? It's either Dynatamer Brand or another Unleash the Beast. Well, if it goes into Amit, well, 1, you have a decent amount of attack on board, but 2, you have minions that won't die, then you can start buffing them up. And what che0nsu's got to be careful of is he doesn't want his board to get too low, too small, because he doesn't want there to be like, oh, 50-50 deadly shot to win the game, or, you know, like, or to lose the game for him, I guess.
Yeah, I think he's doing
regardless, it's just put like tons of minions on the board. Let DawN try and work that out.
You'll find me wherever the action is.
Yeah, there's always consideration for Unleash the Beast there instead of 8-8, but I think just getting, again,
Just
the
that's the
stats on the
1-7,
board is just more important.
And he just gets farmed by the sidekick, right?
That's it. You need maximum stataronies.
So che0nsu can go, take his Blade Master or whatever up to, well, we can go to 18.
Does he have lethal? Yeah, that'll do.
Oh, sorry, it's 20. I thought it was 24. I counted it and was like, yeah, 24. I think for some reason I thought that Blade Master had 3 attack.
Right.
But yeah, that's going to be game number 1. che0nsu takes it with the Priest. It was a little bit close. DawN had a good start, but honestly, I think the Zephyrs kind of threw him off big time.
Yeah,
It was rough.
it really did. If he'd been offered the backstab there, I'm trying to think how good of a situation he would have been in. I think the answer is a pretty good one, because it was like the powered shield and hand circle of healing.
It was
couple of one-shots.
It was the circle trade circle turn that drew most of che0nsu's deck, which was absolutely insane and really put che0nsu in a spot to. The game didn't last that long, but the fact he had access to so many different cards in his hand meant he had choices. So he could go for, okay, you know, he can put the Psychic into the Ammit, and then he can go for the Psycho Pump. So I think overall, if he just, I think maybe, even if he just got, let me think, if he got Zephyrus and for whatever reason it offered him Shadow Word Pain for next turn, I think that still would have been better than having, you know, random Animal Companion. But I think just the assumption it was going to give him backstab and it not giving him backstab really just messed with DawN's plans.
And it's got to be pointed out, Zephyrus offers the same card. If you can set up an identical scenario, it will offer the same card every time. It's not random. It reacts purely to what the board state and, of course, the other factors it considers, cards in hand, all that good stuff. He could have known, if he tested it extensively enough, Zephyrus does not offer backstab in that scenario. It's obviously very difficult to test every single possible eventuality, but that's like a not outlandish turn one scenario to have there.
Yeah, one drop into Zephyrus isn't, you know, too crazy, and I guess Cleric is one of the more played one drops in the game right now. I believe we are going to be going into a Priest versus Paladin matchup, so another one that's I would say pretty close. It's another matchup where you think, you know what, I think I'm okay versus Priest. It's not the best matchup in the world, again, what is, but I think it's definitely not one of the ones you'd put on the bad list.
With honor.
Yeah, it's fine as the Priest, I think. There's pretty much no matchups.
I meant as the Paladin.
The bad list. Oh, I think on both sides, actually.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I
it's
mean.
fine. Yeah, it's just pretty close on both sides. But like you say, the Paladin has a lot of tools that it can use at its disposal. I don't think that this is a matchup that Emperor Thaurissan has helped particularly much, if I'm right in saying, because dropping a 6-mana 5/5, you know, if you have the time to do that, you've probably won the game anyway, because it means you're not dead.
This is a good start though for che0nsu as we go into game number 2. DawN already shaking his head. Just, you know, Christology, 1 mana, win the game sometimes it feels like, because just the draw already gets cooking, and the amount of times it draws you into card draw is actually insane. Just a reminder for anyone joining us right now as well, this is semi-final number 2. Tom already sitting in the finals awaiting the victor of this match, and the losers are out. There is no second chances.
Yeah, they'll have to be fighting for their chance in Grandmasters Season 3 next year. Their chances for this year's Blizzard. I like this play a lot from che0nsu. I think even thinking through all the things that can go wrong, like Power Word Shield, Divine Spirit, or coin extra arms, that always leaves it at 1 health, in which case you can go for Thalmos plus Elven Archer. The only exception to that is a Circle of Healing thrown in there as well. DawN's reading him.
Yeah, he's fighting back here. Now, just the weirdest card in the deck's gonna. It's time to shine. Elven Archer just randomly deals 1. And it is gonna kill off. It's actually randomly deal 1. I mean, the fact is the deck feels a little bit random, but the deal 1's gonna be really good.
Wonder.
There's a lot of people watching right now with Elven Archer in their favourite deck going, I told you it was good. Just kill something.
Yeah, and they play it on turn 1 to face.
Alright, let's not insult our good friends in Twitch.
Here comes Coin Ammit though. With only 2 attack on board,
I see a dark
it's
future.
relatively safe, plus the circle in hand.
There's not much that can kill it off here. We're of course talking Equality or the Subdue as well to really have any good shot. Hammer of Wrath comes close,
Would you
not quite.
put it down to 1?
Yeah. I think so.
You're drawing cards anyway, right?
Yeah. Unless you really want to play Prismatic Lens on this turn. And
Let
honestly,
me
I don't think there's much of a difference. Not enough to warrant the fact that maybe if they don't have health buff, you could just ruin the next few turns.
I think I'd like it. Hammer of Wrath on the off chance, and it means that if there isn't exactly circle, it means that DawN has to like 0 power and play a minion or not, and then it's low, so
a lot
it's
slower.
kind of a win-win, right? Didn't trade?
Doesn't trade. Okay.
Wait, did he not hit face either?
So So there's always thinking to not hit face against Priest because they can go Light Ward and start healing up their face.
already
That was probably a bit silly.
Is someone
You just do
injured?
it right.
Like I'm going to win this game so hard.
Maybe it does something.
And I guess, honestly, most of the time against Priest, the Paladin wins by just killing all their minions and not actually killing the opponent. So maybe che0nsu's so committed to not Holy Wrath. But what if you just need a kind of, long shot Holy Wrath for the win? That was weird.
That was weird.
If it was Quest Priest, then you know what? All right, che0nsu, that's correct, but it is not.
So what are we looking at now? Do we need to go for, as che0nsu, a Holy Wrath play to try and take out the Cleric? Or do you want to just see card draw maximization with Prismatic
Would you
Lens?
Holy Wrath to take out the Cleric over the Amp?
Probably.
I know it's less likely because of 1 extra health.
I think at this point for che0nsu, I'm more afraid of them drawing cards than I am of them going for big health buffs, because eventually you get the board clear anyway, I think. It's really just if you can starve them of cards, I find that you really start to get things into overdrive. Speaking of drawing cards, DawN's like, hello! I can help you with that. Cool. Oh my good Gideon. Absolutely filthy. This is the nightmare for che0nsu. Because now you're in the situation where every turn that you don't clear, you are fully expecting Divine Spirit in a fire to just kill you.
Yeah, we can see the strange turn of events. There is not Divine Spirit in there. There's a lot of other health buffs, not Divine Spirit.
And to be fair, che0nsu here may just have to go for the read of, I'm going to pretend they don't have it. They can't have it this early, or they're just...
Ugh.
Yeah, that feels horrible, because now you're thinking, I should probably consecrate now, but it's horrible.
It has to be.
Yeah, okay. Equality on its own will still just be good. Just to get everything down to 1 health, that's still good enough, I think.
And as well, he does have timeout, so he can buy a certain amount of turns.
The end.
Psycho Pump gonna come down now, though. Ugh.
Is someone injured?
che0nsu's like, what? I just got rid of you. Just like when you're on the phone to someone who loves to be on the phone talking. You're like, right, gotta go now. Oh, yeah, but this. And you're like, every time you think you get away, it never works.
Shut up, Dad. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Take a hint.
Jeez.
I know that joke's safe because my dad won't be
You like
watching.
my invention?
And it's safe from my point as well because no one watches that I know. So even though I didn't name specifically who I may or may not have been talking about, I'll be safe.
I'm proud of us.
Me too. che0nsu's not proud of this hand though.
What are we looking at? Heal yourself, heal yourself and then timeout.
And then shed a tear.
Yeah. You obviously don't have to go for timeout here, but I think 10 cards left in deck when your opponent draws, they can draw again with the hero power. You're really starting to play with fire there.
Also, there's an 8 health minion, so honestly, just turning a fire is lethal here, or at least close enough to it. Has to. One good thing though, che0nsu is also on about 10 cards left, which means surely at some point he's going to get his board clear.
Yeah.
At some point
They're in
today,
there somewhere,
he
I'm
might
sure.
draw some removal. Or at least the right removal he needs versus Priest.
Yeah, Prismatic Lens, at this point, it has to be drawing from something like that. The problem is, though, with so few minions left in the deck, when he goes Prismatic Lens, the card he draws very possibly gets turned to 25 with Shaman, which is where things get very scary.
Or 6 for Thoris.
That's bad, too. I didn't even think about that. Now you can switch your Holy Wrath up to 6,
Yeah.
right, which can really start to mess you up. Interesting.
But then you play Emperor for like, I don't know, 5, and then reduce it down.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
So
Fixes itself. Is that an active Zephyrus? For 0 mana left over? That's it. That's
maybe you'll get a backstab.
Yeah, Moonfire his own face.
Does Consecrate? I think so, right? Kills off 2 of the minions. Lowers health. I think it's... che0nsu scraping the barrel in terms of good plays, but I think he found something.
Were you ever supposed to go Consecrate and then Subdue to have a 1 health Amit so that all your opponent's minions come into play with lower health?
You've not seen any health buffs though.
I got you, friend.
So, and also
you,
does
friend.
it just not matter?
Probably just doesn't matter.
It's a good thing to think about though, because I think or at least I definitely, as it looks like this game's over, don't think about the intricacies of actually leaving an Amit on board versus not. It's not something that comes up too often. This does come up maybe far too often, which is huge damage coming out of Priest from nowhere, and the Cleric's going to finish the game, and DawN evens up the series 1-1. Now both players have got the Priest out of the way. Let's get on to some
Kind of feels like what we've been seeing for a fair few weeks now in Grandmasters, where the priests all take the win because they are usually shielded. That has been the interesting thing to me, at least going into this week with the playoffs and the new cards that we've had added in with Doom in the Tomb, is that it's been a lot of Shaman shielding instead of priest shielding, which I think is fairly wise. It obviously does very well, in my opinion, against the priests themselves, and then as a good matchup against pretty much all the aggressive decks. But then every so often you just get a reminder of what priest truly is, and you start to think, yeah, you should probably just shield priest.
Right, and it's one of those weird things as well that if you have the... Generally, it must be weird to prepare for something like this because with such a small amount of players, it's not like, oh, there's a field of 400 players. You might think most of them are bad, right? But if you're a decent player and you have a read like, oh, I think you should shield Shaman because everyone's going to be playing priest.
Right.
Well, if everyone has that read and everyone shields Shaman, then you've kind of like outplayed yourself to a certain extent. I'm not saying that the shield should always be priest or anything, but if you both shield Shaman, it doesn't really change much, and that's more of an impact on the bans, I guess. But then you're not going to ban priest because you shielded Shaman, or you will ban priest. It gets a little bit weird. But
really does.
My overall point being is, if you have a good read as a pro player, you have to expect other players to have at least similar reads.
I agree. You're playing your opponent just as much as you're playing the game, especially when there's such a small base of players in Hearthstone Grandmasters.
They're going to go into it though. 1-1 so far. This is not match point. There'll be 2 more wins needed for one of these players to go through to the finals. DawN kicking it off on the Hunter there, getting a good turn 1 play.
Really not bad starting hands for both players here though.
Can't coin out the evil... He's coining out the evil totem? I just about to say, you cannot coin out. Maybe I was a bit extreme, but I would have never coined out an evil totem versus Secret Keeper.
So then you go Quest Lackey on the following turn, which is usually what happens after you
What
go.
if the Lackey sucks?
That's the thing. There's quite a few there that are just bad.
And it's not unlikely
Half
that there's
of them
a secret.
just do nothing.
But and it's not unlikely there's a secret here.
Yeah. I think you...
I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah.
I'll have to refer to my notebook later on.
Because the thing is, it's not like if he didn't go coin evil totem, he had a terrible play. He could have gone quest into questing. That's a strong curve.
Right.
That's what you want to do with the deck.
He has the Sandstorm Elemental, which is nice backup. He has some good stuff anyway. Huh.
Don't know about that one, Chief.
I will say though, I feel like Hunter struggles in this matchup a lot. It's a really hard one.
Yeah, I think you struggle to get damage there in the first few turns because Shaman's so good at locking down the board, and then they just outbound.
You just can't keep up. Yeah, they just do way more stuff than you do in there. Well, speaking of doing cool stuff, Shaman's got its own beast to play.
Doesn't want to overload into the hair plus evolve turn. It makes sense.
You know what is weird to me, Derek?
What is weird to you, Raven?
Evolve is a Shaman thing, not a Hunter thing.
Because it's like nature stuff?
Yeah. Beasts and things evolve.
Isn't it like a bit magical for hunters? Like they're not really I don't play World of Warcraft, but they're less magic-y based. They're more like just guns and beasts and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas it's not like, it's clearly what's happening to that poor guy is not a natural process of evolution.
Just sped it up a little bit.
Yeah, you've all seen the diagram. It goes from like monkey to slightly bigger monkey to tentacle-covered monster.
Yeah, eventually. Just skip a few years, a couple of years. It'll be fine. But yeah, it's just a funny thing, isn't it? Especially when you see heads, which are beasts. It's like, oh, beasts evolve into bigger things. Oh, yeah. Oh, is that in Hunter? What? Yeah, it's in the class with all the elementals.
Maybe they should put a card into what's called approved real evolution, where you play it, and then 4 billion years later,
yeah, it's slightly different.
yeah, you have a 2-celled life form.
Its ears have grown half an inch. In the meantime, though, che0nsu is fighting back here. He got off to a slow start, but that certainly might make this a quick finish.
I think we jumped back in just at the right point there, as DawN had been doing pretty much the only thing he could do, really, in developing secrets. che0nsu had been doing the only thing he could do in setting up for the hair plus evolve. And then he hits the absolute dream. We get DawN's camera back just in time to see him grinning like a man who's just been beaten.
He just win this evolution as well. Snakes on one side, and then the tortoise and panthers of the world take over.
I will be endlessly sad that we never got to see the exact moment where che0nsu's heart broke.
Quest Explorer is just
Of course it's
fine.
the right way.
I don't even mean fine in a bad way.
Oh my
Is he just
lordy.
bog slash?
Yeah.
What do you bounce though? What about just the elemental? Huh?
Oh, you think? Oh, sorry. I got confused with slush though. Bog slush. I think I like going for the lucky generation here, just to start filling up your hand. Like, you're so far ahead, and never pulling it back.
Wow, what happened? I feel like we just talked, you know, we explained evolution, and then the game just completely flipped on its head.
che0nsu is at 15. Does that mean anything? Can Dinotamer Brand ever get there?
You'll find me wherever the
Like,
action
bridge
Nope.
the gap to Zul'jin.
It's because the Secret Keeper is just too big now.
He's got to trade.
And it all goes downhill from here.
Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff that can offer lethal here.
He needs
If you don't hear of how you can hit
one
Bloodlust.
Damahe.
Oh, he needs 1 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear
It
of
needs
how.
like literally anything and miss.
Not that.
And miss.
Not that.
I wonder if he should have gone for thingy actually. Haunted Visions.
Yeah, I liked the look of Haunting Visions more as well.
Because that opens up another selection of spells. And it's spells only, right? So it's higher chance. You know, instead of like trying to just discover a Shaman card or a battle cry, it's like way more battle cries that don't do damage.
Imagine though, 1 shot, 1 kill.
Oh, it's the Elven Archer out of nowhere. I mean, it's going to be the game anyway, because he did get hold of that. The Kobold Lackey, of course. But yeah, an Elven Archer would have been pretty funny, to be honest.
Feels absolutely horrible there for DawN. He gave it his absolute best shot there. I think he did everything right. Even his sequence of playing out the secrets was smart. He held on to the rat trap in his mulligan, but he realized that's not really good until turn 4 or 5 usually. So he held on to that as the last secret he was playing there, which I think was very, very wise. And then other than that, though, it was really just praying that Mind Control Tech doesn't do what Mind Control Tech 1/4 of the time does.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because there's not a lot he could have even, like, really done about it. He played right. Like, the snakes are good to okay against Shaman. Obviously, there's the Elemental, there's Mind Control Tech, but you can't really expect it to happen, as well as it's not as if he shouldn't have played the Snake Trap. Of course he does.
Yeah.
So I think it was a little bit unfortunate. I think the matchup overall is quite hard for the Hunter, but I think that in most outcomes, DawN probably looks way stronger in that matchup based on how the early game went. But Mind Control Tech's a card, and it can flip games like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, I think overall that is one of the matchups of why I think Hunter I still have question marks about, because I know I'm still making the same old mistakes. Because I first, at the start of Grandmaster Season 2, I was saying Highlander, Hunter, garbage. You never play it. Why would you ever play a rubbish deck like that?
Best performing deck in Grandmasters.
Best performing deck in Grandmasters. I look like quite the fool. And then now I'm thinking, Shaman does such broken stuff. Druid does such broken stuff. Priest is still Priest. why are you bringing Hunter? And then we are still seeing it being able to get over the finish line. It's still a decent deck. My question is it quite good enough to make it into the top 4? Maybe as a 4th deck if you don't like the power of Druid?
I've got an answer for you.
Please.
We're about to step into the realms of best of 5.
Okay.
There's one deck left, and it's Holy Wrath Paladin, which means now Holy Wrath Paladin has to win a match, and we go and we go all the way back to targeted lineups, right? Of, well, it's not okay to lose, but it's okay to lose if you're losing to the deck that you're not trying to beat, right? And that's the way Conquest has worked historically. And Hunter versus Holy Wrath Paladin, I think, is a nightmare for the Paladin. So then if you think, look at how many players have brought Paladin, and if you make it to this stage, I'm not saying it's the right pick, in every sense of the world, but here Hunter versus Paladin is very good. So if DawN takes this one, then he's just in one game. The last game comes all the way down to game number 5, and I think this is a horrible matchup for the Paladin.
I agree, and I'm more than willing to admit that I'm an idiot. If I wasn't able to, I don't think I would have made it this far.
Same. Imagine months and months of playoffs, Darren. I've had to just take being an idiot for a long time. I've almost made a profession out of it.
Don't worry, I did an admirable job of filling in while you were away.
And here we go. che0nsu, I think you can already just start to see that, or at least if you've not seen this matchup play out too often, Hunter does damage in such a consistent fashion, even if that's just hero powers, that a lot of the time the Paladin is often defending, which means it has less time to go, I'm going to spend all my mana on card draw this turn. Don't really get those gaps, and I think you see that displayed already in this matchup by che0nsu just playing out Pyromancer, because it's like, oh, I could have the first minion in this matchup. Great. And you think, well, Pyromancer clears boards. That's surely a card to keep against a minion aggressive deck. And well, right. But if there's 1-for-1s, it's already good for che0nsu.
And I think while you could have made the argument that it was a fine matchup before Doom in the Tomb, I think now with Ragnaros added in, Call of the Wild, the amount of burst that this Hunter can push forward, I just don't think Paladin can compete with that, because they're not playing timeout onto an empty board because maybe they have Ragnaros. You have to save it for situations where they have a big board to stall out the game.
I hope you like my invention.
I fully agree. I think Hunter's in a great spot.
Here we go as well. The Novice Engineer is actually pretty nice for che0nsu. Obviously, DawN wasn't expecting to kill anything mind-blowing, but a Novice Engineer is probably the worst target because it's already done its job.
Should he have thrown down the Rat Trap there instead then? Because if he's not sniping Acolyte, it's pretty much just that.
I mean, honestly, I think it's fine to peel a shield off Kango. I think it's fine to kill Thanos because it doesn't get the spell damage. I'm not saying it's great, but Novice is literally the worst one because Novice does 100% of its job before it hits the board.
And I guess if you were ever going to get the good state, which is killing Acolyte, it's going to be going into their turn 3. That's when it's most likely to happen. So I am on board that way. Whereas Rat Trap, like we were saying, it only really gets good turns 4 or 5 onwards, pretty easy Hammer of Wrath, I think.
So we'll start to stack up slowly though, because next turn we can see the draw from DawN, but the Snip Snap into Coin Snip Snap definitely wouldn't look too shabby to me.
I guess that could actually have been Holy Wrath face instead, to just be mana efficient.
And win. Oh no, you can't. She wasn't hand.
Yeah.
Boo! And I think although there is Call the Wild in hand and it's tempting to be like, I need to go and Call the Wild. Call the Wild deals 5 damage most of the time, right? In most circumstances. That's very far away, DawN, so I do think this is correct here. Just drop down the Snip Snaps, make stuff on the board that can actually deal damage. Now this, honestly, this might look weird, but this isn't a bad turn for DawN.
Yeah, it's fine.
Because he can Deadly Shot, he can push damage, his minions aren't cleared, he still has his secrets, and honestly, the cheaper the cards are for che0nsu, the more likely it is that he'll play 3 of them in turn, which means this Rat Trap gets procced.
This is pretty much the dream Hunter turn. Your opponent plays something big that doesn't remove anything. You clear it off, gain tempo, press the hero power. But of course, the Thaurissan did have an effect, even if it wasn't immediately realized. And now che0nsu can start doing this stupid stuff.
Yeah, but this Rat Trap's a little bit annoying.
It's a good point.
That's what I was saying. The benefit of Emperor against Hunter is it's more likely you're going to play 3 cards because they're cheaper.
So next turn, I think, is where we're probably a little bit more likely to see Rat Trap being procced, because we could see double 1-drop Shrink Ray. Oh, sorry, triple 1-drop Shrink Ray.
Look at the power of this Rat Trap, though.
That's insane.
He just stopped him doing stuff like Prismatic Lens.
So
Or even
therefore-
Acolyte something. Pyromancer something, sorry.
Do you think because of that, Kangor plus Flash of Light wasn't the play? Do you think we should have seen more expensive cards played instead? Like
Maybe.
the Prismatic Lens?
The problem is he still needs to empty his hand.
Yeah.
Kangor is empties your hand and doesn't refill, so it's nice. But I do feel like... I mean, there's not much che0nsu can do about it. You can't prop the Rat Trap if you can't kill it, because he just takes 6 damage. But I just think it's very interesting that that Emperor turn, honestly, wasn't the worst thing to happen for DawN, especially because he had the Deadly Shot.
Prismatic Lens into Shrink Ray seems fine.
Yeah. He has to subdue, right?
If you go Pyro, Subdue... Nah, you're never answering the Rat Trap well.
Well, next turn, though, he can go Thalnos, Elven Archer, Pyro, Shrink Ray.
Yeah.
But I think 1 mana pass, or at least pass on the damage this turn is pretty good.
Yep.
Now, though, this is starting to get a little bit spicy. Not the best pull here.
DawN with pretty close to a dead turn. Not
I
quite.
think he unleashes.
Yeah, I think he unleashes.
Unleash, kill the 1/1, everything else goes face. Kill the 1/1 with a dog. Everything else goes face.
Is this ever a kill command face turn? Just get the mana spent?
No, he has the time. Maybe, actually, no.
What about kill command revenge?
I think he unleashes.
Oh, sorry,
and
unleash.
just use the weapon to kill the 1/1.
Okay.
Because it's just, you just keep a minion, right? Or weapon facing, just the 1/1 to kill the 1/1.
That is max damage.
He should play this unleash, though. This never gets value. And you want to protect the Divine Shield. Although the Tiamat is obviously a 1/1, it's dealing 2 a turn. Like, that's a Hunter Hero power on the board right there.
Yeah, I think there's like a double benefit for setting up minions on this turn, because if you quote-unquote overcommit to the board and they clear, you have power in the world just to recommit. If they don't clear, all of your minions get plus attack, which means you're all of a sudden pushing 10 damage to face in that turn.
And the kill command, and DawN saying, you either do something big here or you are very dead.
I don't like the Revenge of the Wilds here though.
Why?
Because he's setting up for next turn. It just means if we were to see... actually, I don't know, because well, my thinking was you want 3 board spaces, right, for Call of the Wild.
Get away with 2.
Can get away with
It's
2.
Leok and Huffer, isn't it?
Yeah, it goes in alphabetical order, yeah.
Doesn't need Misha if he's planning to win next turn or not, right?
It's fair, and if your opponent plays timeout, you're probably not playing Call of the Wild into that anyway, yeah.
Honestly, I think it's alright.
Okay. I guess my thinking was just, can you get more value with it? Unleash the Hounds later? I'm not sure.
Nah, he's not after value, is he?
Vengeance.
1 shot.
I'm left arm.
Just gonna do the clear. The good thing now is he can't kill off these 1/1s, so that's already 4. Which makes 8.
Ones. That's insane.
He can do 4 now. He can push another 5 with Huffer.
Yeah. Man, this Zul'jin is just going to be getting beefier and beefier for when he finds it.
If he finds it.
He might just win.
Or lose. I'm just gonna say the opposite of everything you say now. For when he finds it, if he finds it. For when he wins, might lose.
1 damage, Raven. 1 damage off lethal.
And there's a timeout off the top. Jeez.
So, we're looking at most likely, I think, this game coming down to stall for as long as you can as che0nsu, and then go for probably a 50-50, 1 in 3 lethal, something like that.
I wonder.
Maybe you can get it better odds than that with this Zephyrus as well.
So he conks, right? I think he plays Consecrate this turn. With the timeout.
Is there any benefit to board locking your opponent?
Well, the problem is, yes, but the issue is you're then just not spending mana, and you might have to double conk next turn, so why not do half of it this turn and have 6 extra mana free?
That means next turn you can go Consecrate Zephyrus,
Heal.
Healing Light. Yeah.
I think you definitely play conk this turn.
Yeah.
It's don't like that, che0nsu. All I see now is just a card in hand that might plug in more.
Although, to be fair, if you're thinking of setting up the plan of Consecrate this turn, Consecrate Zephyrus, Heal the following turn, is it very likely that your opponent plays nothing that, or doesn't play anything that dies to a Consecration? Because if you're setting up to go for 2 damage to clear the board next turn, then you're probably placing more than 2 health.
Right. My only question is, like, is that ever much different from this?
Fair.
You know what I mean? Like, my main point was he had mana to use cards, and I think using cards is very important.
Okay.
Because he might have nothing. He might have Unleash. And he might have a Secret. Or, you know, so on and so on. He might have even just low cards. And although Consecrate might not have killed it all, it might not have led to lethal. I mean, he did do it anyway. He did get the Chevalier off, and now he's going to Zephyrus into, I'm guessing, a heal. It's got to be Healing Touch, right? He wins if the game goes.
Let's move quickly.
3 minions on board. A bow is lethal. His Zephyrus.
Yo,
Oh, DawN evens the game up with a timely Dino Tamer Brad to end the game. And even though that was not the most mind-blowing Hunter game in the world from DawN, you can see that, yes, the Brand won the game, but the consistent damage pressure just puts the Paladin in so, like, awkward situations that you could see that. Did che0nsu have like 7, 8 cards left at that point?
It was less than that. It was like 5.
Was it 5?
Yeah.
Because even before the last turn where he did, you know, he got some draw off or whatever, he still had a fair few cards to draw before the end of the game, and the last couple of turns before that were very awkward just because of the damage that was being put forward there. And like I said, DawN did not have the best Hunter pressure in the world at all. He still managed it.
Yeah, it was a pretty convincing victory there. The only thing I'm thinking about is if there was anything on like the last turn that che0nsu could have done to try and pull things back. Maybe the play was to go for Consecration. If we're even just being results oriented as how it would have played out. Of course, DawN could have then developed a 5/5 off the Unleash the Beast as well as the Ursatron. Maybe that's enough to just withstand and deliver lethal on the following turn. It gets so interesting though, man, so quickly.
It's definitely really weird, and for me, again, I don't know whether it was right or wrong, but Paladin has a lot of mana to chug through on every single turn of every single game, and just floating 3 mana when a Consecrate kind of does work and sets up a full mana-free turn the turn after might have been a little bit better. But let's move on to the final game of the series. The winner of this one between DawN and che0nsu will go on to face previous world champion DawN Tom
60229.
yeah, Tom 60229 in the finals. It's going to be Warrior versus Paladin. Now, Mr. Derek, with the changes, i.e. a Emperor in the Paladin deck nowadays, does Paladin just dumpster Warrior?
I think Dumpster might be a little bit strong, but not that much too strong. I think Paladin is pretty firmly in the lead here. If they can get any kind of a decent draw hand at the start, we're talking, of course, Christology to get things rolling. Acolyte, Hammer of Wrath, fine. More than good enough to be moving forward with here for che0nsu. I think that DawN will struggle to get anywhere near the amount of mana necessary to save. He does have the full suite, I suppose you could say, of armor gaining cards. 2 Attorney Rovers, 2 Weapons Projects, 2 Shield Blocks, and of course the Ziliax to magnetize on a bit of extra healing. But I'm just not sure if that's good enough anymore, because the real difference maker in this matchup is Emperor Thaurissan. 6 mana 5/5 at the end of your turn. Reduce the cost of all cards in your hand by 1. And what that means, very thankfully, the perfect breakpoint for Paladin is they are able to do Chevalier, Baleful Anchor, Holy Wrath twice in 1 turn for 50 damage worth of burst.
Pretty crazy. And also, as a side note, gives the if hit Zephyrus, it gives Zephyrus like more options of damage.
Great point.
Going forward as well.
Yeah.
che0nsu there with a nice cute play, using the Open Archer to draw additional cards from their point. DawN just playing stuff out aggressively, not overly prioritizing armor. I'm not saying he should have hero powered past there, but he could have. I guess it's more my point.
Yeah. I like this turn from che0nsu here, not necessarily because it's an especially good play, but I think because he didn't fall into a trap there. Hammer of Wrath double trade there to clear the board, like, seems okay at first glance. You very quickly realize in this matchup, Hammer of Wrath clears off armor. That's what it does in the matchup. You have to target that face. And so I think for che0nsu, good play, don't fall for the bait.
DawN is putting on a good amount of pressure here though. The dynamatic follow-up was really nice to clear off that Kangor. Normally a little bit awkward with the Divine Shield. For now, he's got a good little mech pressure going on, and he has Town Crier, he's got Flunky, so he's got stuff to draw cards as well and to generate some cards
hope you like
to
my
keep up with some
invention.
pressure. The Elysiana, I don't think is really going to come into this game, but the Weapons Project, not too bad.
For vengeance.
Job done.
Meanwhile, che0nsu just go for that card draw, get Thalnos down. Just going to draw him an additional card there, and che0nsu really just does want to race through this game.
DawN has a chance to get Ziliax here, which could of course be used to magnetize on push extra damage. I think I like holding on to it though. I think that's another kind of quote-unquote bait you can fall into in the matchup, which is using your Ziliax for pressure early on, which honestly never works.
I don't mind it if it's later in the game and then you use it aggressively because you've got them under pressure. But I think like almost on curve, it's like, well, there's still 2 flash of lights, still, you know, so on, there's still timeouts.
If they just simply
Yeah. Whereas, you know, if DawN's got che0nsu at like 10 to, you know, early teens of health, and Ziliax is going to help push more damage, then do it fine.
For sure.
But you've got to get him in that spot in there.
Excuse me. I'd like to report a crime, please. That is illegal. 1 mana Emperor Thaurissan.
It's pretty sick.
That's disgusting.
It's not even been Geppettoed, so it would be a 1/1. It's actually a 1 mana 6/6.
Let me think.
Geppettoed sounds like a kind of 18th century version of Gebaited.
It's not even been Geppettoed. Still a tough turn though, because it's definitely, this isn't the matchup where you want to just blindly slam a Thaurissan down and be like, this is cool. You really do want to hit the key minions.
Move quickly.
So how much of that has he got? He's got 2 bankers, no Holy Rats, and a Shivala. The Shivala doesn't matter if it goes to 0 anyway.
Ooh, respect for the armor gain.
Damn.
I'll take all the damage in the world, but don't you dare gain armor.
Oh,
Never mind.
oh. How's that going for you, che0nsu?
Subdue this!
Disaster. So he had to get rid of a card there, of course, to not overdraw, which is why he thought it was necessary, but it does work out absolutely miserably.
I'm really confused about that.
Of not going for the second snip.
Yeah. I know it right this second gains him 2 extra armor, but what if it gains him more later? I don't know.
I think I like this more. Just about. Just about. Because I think in all likelihood, the way I'm expecting this Eternian Rover to be dealt with is Shrink Ray or Equality. I guess you could factor in your own Warpath, which is a pretty big deal.
You're getting 4 1/1s.
Put a bit of extra
He's
pressure
beating him
on.
up a little bit. Look at this health.
Yeah, maybe it was better.
For one of just 2 armor, I know like
That can be all the difference.
I
in the
know
world.
even a small amount of armor makes a difference, but does it make a difference if your opponent can 50 you? He's on what? 33 health. He's clearly prioritized. If he wasn't prioritizing board, fine.
Yeah.
But he skipped turns of potential armor to play minions out that he didn't need to.
che0nsu here doesn't know what to do.
Slapping your own face is probably no better way to go though, che0nsu.
Your wish is
I
my
honestly think this is one of the first times we've seen che0nsu in Grandmasters utterly lost.
It's one of those tough hands, isn't it?
He had no idea what the play was there.
But like I said, it's because he can't just slam Thorison in this matchup.
No.
He's one Holy Wrath away from being allowed to.
Yeah. I mean, again, he could. It's still something you have to consider.
But
I agree, it's probably worth it.
The second he draws Holy Wrath, the game is locked in. And remember, this is the game. If he loses, he's out.
Yeah.
Nice one, che0nsu. You top-seeded APAC Grandmasters. That's amazing. But you're not going to Global Finals. Whereas if he just... I'll say this, even though I know players hate it, but if he just plays it a bit safer and a bit slower, he could just like, okay, well, enjoy that 8 armor. I'm going to 50 you in a turn. It doesn't matter.
This is something I was just about to bring up, because honestly, it was something I'd only just even thought about for the first time, really made the connection, which is that before Emperor Thorison was in, you saved Ziliax. It's just what you did 9 times out of 10 in the matchup, because they had to do you for 25, you heal back up and hope that the second 25 can't get there. Now, however, if they're doing 50 in a turn, healing makes no difference.
And that's why I think both players need to change the style up a little bit. And it's why I was saying I don't mind Ziliax pressuring if it's on low health. If you're adding it into pressure on low health, you already have a board.
Yeah.
If you attach Ziliax on turn 5 to a 1-1 and your opponent's at 30, well, that's just not pressure, is it? Like, it's not going to do anything. But now, it's put che0nsu on 10. He's got to be at least a little bit worried.
I feel like my thought process has gone completely 360. Like,
You're learning again.
Well, now I'm wondering if I'm on the other side of the debate to you, where I'm saying you should slam it down on turn 5 rather than you should never play it at all. Because if they always go for the Emperor Thorison, then you don't need to save it. But at the same time, if you play your Ziliax early on, they don't have to go for the full Emperor Thorison.
Which is why I'm in the middle, where I say if you're piling on pressure, you have a board, you're beating them up, whack it down, it's 3 more damage and it might stick around because of the Divine Shield.
Sure.
If you're not, then it does nothing, right? It does 3 damage and then they pass. But with that pickup of the Holy Wrath, che0nsu's now kind of annoyed that he didn't play Emperor earlier because now Holy Wrath's 2 mana.
DawN on the other side, though, to be honest, is very close to actually getting out of the 50 damage range in the next couple of turns. Hero Power Weapons Project.
Kind of, but in the next couple of turns, he might die. He's so close. And now this must be a signifier, right? It doesn't take a genius to work out that the second Emperor comes down, your opponent's got the combo.
Yes.
Is che0nsu going to go into these Asia-Pacific finals dual-wielding the light with just 2 Holy Wraths to the face? That's going to be 2 more armor.
But it's a taunt out of the way. I guess the hero power could have taken out anyway, so fair enough. So you're not pressing hero power this turn?
Oh, Derek's upset.
I would be upset.
What?
Why? What?
So,
why not just double trade in?
He wants to try and kill him, right? I guess. Maybe.
I guess.
I feel like Derek's in pain right now.
I feel like now that you've seen Zephyrus, your higher chance of winning the game...
You need 51 health.
...comes through... Yeah.
More or less. Obviously, there's consecrates and there's weapons, but at a base burst level,
why 50? The archers will take.
Yeah, so DawN survives at 1 if he has 51 health.
Of course, sorry, yeah.
This is really basic math, Derek. I'm sorry.
I'm the biggest peanut brain I've ever met in my life. I just kept saying 50 over and over in my head, though.
I was like, why don't you need 51?
Carry on saying smart things.
Okay, I'll try my best.
I'll sit in my corner.
But yeah, obviously there's consecrates, but again, you take that damage as it comes in this matchup.
Yeah.
Whereas if DawN can say, right, che0nsu's going to empty his hand this turn, he can do the combo. If he's at 51, after seeing Zephyrus especially, then he is arguably safe as long as there's a taunt in the way for, say, a pre-equipped weapon.
Huge taunt now coming in the way. Which means the weapon is harder to get through. But this is why I was hesitant to even say that, or I shouldn't say this is why, this is part of the thinking of why I thought hero power was better on the previous turn, was because now for DawN, he's in a situation where he had to just trade in the 3-1 anyway. He's not really putting on much pressure at all.
And he ain't getting there health-wise.
And the armor's just nowhere near now.
He needs 11 armor to survive through the Holy Wrath double burst.
I'm almost out of cards.
Especially as for che0nsu.
I mean, that's...
At this point, he needs to get to 53 realistically, because after che0nsu plays the True Silver Champion, he's going to Weapons Project it away, and then the 2 Chevaliers can rush into the DawN, which means the 2 damage can go face.
Right, so it's sort of...
it's 2 more damage
equal,
even.
Yeah. But it like completely negates the issue in a roundabout way. But now I think che0nsu's just got this in the bag.
I think so.
I must move quickly.
And it's a tough one, right? Because I still think it's early enough in the development of this new meta in that I don't know what you're supposed to do as the warrior. Are you supposed to try and play aggro? Do you try and get 100 health? You know, however hard that may be? I don't know.
Do you play Chevalier as the bottom card in their deck? It would allow him to clear. I think that's his out, honestly.
Oh, he 100% plays this.
Damn it, I played a 3-8 for 4 with DawN.
Such a bad outcome. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't actually know what the warrior should do, or if the warrior just loses.
I think that's what players are still trying to figure out.
Because you can argue about tech cards all day, right? Yes, he can play Archmage, Vargoth, and all the armor gains, fine, but that's just not the case right now.
And without even a True Silver Champion needing to be used, che0nsu here just absolutely blows DawN out of the water. And after finishing first seed in his group, sailing through the group stage to get through here to the final day, che0nsu is in the finals up against Tom 6022.
Yeah, I like it. Full respect to DawN. I think he brought a cool lineup, and I think he's done well throughout Grandmasters. He's been a consistent competitor throughout 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But honestly, che0nsu has been very, very impressive all season. He continues to be so, making it through his group and now making it to the finals. And again, it's just arguably just a symptom of going to best of 5 is that there was no real choice. There's Holy Wrath Paladin that DawN had to beat to win that series. So that matchup was just rough. Maybe if DawN had a read on many people bringing Holy Wrath Paladin, he just shouldn't have brought Warrior. Because can you afford to just lose a match? Or a game, sorry. I don't know.
I think even if that's not the exact reason, your sentiment is bang on here. That DawN there, it was less a case of bringing a slightly off-meta, weird lineup with a specific purpose, and honestly I think he just didn't find the best decks in time.
Right.
It was such a short period of time since the new cards were rotated in Doom and the Tomb event, and I think a lot of the other players just figured out what was better a bit quicker.
And honestly, there are other warriors as well knocking about. There's a warrior that is a control warrior but has the N'Zoth package as well, which provides more punch and more pressure late game. There's also just all the Highlanders, whether that's aggro or control, so maybe there's something still in there, especially with the addition of, say, the N'Zoth package, Ragnaros, Emperor, of course. But that does mean we have our finals decided. It's going to be Tom 60229 going up against che0nsu for that last spot at the global finals representing the Asia Pacific region. While we just give che0nsu a few minutes to recover from that match and to get ready for the next one, we're going to go to a break. So we'll be right back with the finals. Don't go anywhere.